The story starts in a village out in the boonies called Hog, and a priest discovered 2 abandoned babies in front of the church. He lit a fire with his magical abilities and looked at the 2 boys. He wondered if they were siblings, but he quickly realized that they behaved very differently. He learned that the quiet baby's name is Yuno. Suddenly he was kicked in his face, and he learned that the other baby's name was Asta. 15 years later, we see some farmers plowing the fields with the help of magic. They started watering the fields with water magic, and they heard a loud voice from the church. Asta said that one day he would become the Wizard King, and he proposed to Lily. She replied that it is not possible because she is everyone's sister. Asta didn't want to give up, and Sister Lily cast a water spell to calm him down. Meanwhile, the other orphans who live in the church showed up. Asta still hadn't given up, but Yuno stopped him with wind magic. Asta asked why Yuno was always in his way, and he told him the reasons. Afterwards, he said to Asta that Sister Lily is a woman of the cloth, so she can't get married. Suddenly, Asta challenged Yuno to a fight, but no one believed that Asta can defeat Yuno because he can't use magic at all. Nash found Asta pathetic because at 15 years old he still can't use magic. He said that magic means everything in this world, and Asta got angry. He showed off his skills and started doing sit-ups. Meanwhile, Yuno used his magical powers to help Sister Lily with the laundry. As a result, Asta planned to chop wood, but Yuno was faster than him. Asta's pride was hurt, and Priest Orsi showed up and said that Yuno is the hope of this church. Sister Lily tried to cheer Asta up and said that the awards ceremony was coming up. He's looking forward to getting a grimoire soon, so he can use magic. After that, he said he will become a Wizard King, and he noticed that Yuno was looking down on him. Asta wanted to show him that he can become strong too, and he ran away. Meanwhile, Yuno was at church, and Sister Lily asked if he could be a little nicer to Asta. She remembered that Yuno used to be a crybaby, but since that day, Yuno had never cried again. Then we see Asta, who was training to become stronger. He trained every day since that day, and he remembered the promise to Yuno. The following day, many young wizards gathered at the Grimoire Tower. Asta wanted to get a grimoire as quickly as possible to catch up with Yuno. Meanwhile, noble boys who loathed poor commoners looked down on Asta. They made fun of Asta for not being able to use magic, and Nash was ashamed of him. Then the future wizards were greeted, and the master of the Grimoire Tower appeared in the room. He said that they never found anyone in this area who's actually achieved greatness in the Magic Nights. Then he handed out the grimoires, and each grimoire chose its owner. Afterwards, we see that most people are happy with their grimoires. Suddenly, Asta said that he hadn't received a grimoire. He was shaking, and the master of the Grimoire Tower said he should try it next year again. He was laughed at by the other wizards, and Asta embarrassed himself. Suddenly, Yuno's grimoire began to glow brightly because he had a 4-leaf clover. They were shocked that Yuno had a 4-leaf clover grimoire, like the first Wizard King. Then Yuno said that he will become the future Wizard King. Asta was sad, but everyone else was impressed by him. Asta stood up and said that he will catch up with him because he is his rival. However, Asta was laughed at, and Yuno ignored him because he felt sorry for Asta. Sister Lily was worried about Asta, and a mysterious person was in the audience. In the evening, Asta was depressed and wondered if he would ever be able to use magic. But he didn't give up despite everything, and he still wanted to become a Wizard King. Then we see Yuno, who was harassed by some nobles because they were jealous of him. He couldn't accept that a commoner had a 4-leaf grimoire and attacked him with fire magic. Yuno used his wind magic and deflected the attack with ease. After that, chains appeared out of the wall, and Asta heard that someone was screaming. Following this, a mysterious person named Reiji appeared. Reiji said that he was a well-known magic nai, but he was kicked out of the kingdom's military. After that day, he became a thief, and he planned to steal Yuno's grimoire. In addition, he said that he knows that only the one chosen by the grimoire can use it. So Reiji explained to Yuno that underground collectors would still buy it, and he discovered the pendant that Yuno had. Before Reiji could steal it, Asta appeared. He wondered who the strange guy in front of him was and wanted to know why he was holding Yuno's grimoire. Asta told the thief to give Yuno his grimoire back, but the villain laughed at him and planned to attack Asta with chain magic. Asta wasn't scared, and he charged towards his opponent. He tried to defeat him with a strong punch, but he was stopped by the chains. Asta then said that he wasn't giving up, but Reiji activated his finisher move. Asta was seriously injured, and he noticed that his body felt heavy. Afterwards, Reiji looked down on Asta and said that he will never become Wizard King. He was able to measure the magical power in Asta's body with his chains. This is how Asta learned that he was born with no magic in his body. Asta was shocked, and he realized that without magic, he could never become the Wizard King. Then he was impressed by Yuno and had to admit to himself that he was pathetic. Suddenly, Yuno tried to cheer him up, and he told him that Asta will never become the Wizard King because he is the person who will receive the title of Wizard King. After this, he said that he is not a loser because Asta is his rival. As a result, Asta decided not to give up the fight. At this moment, Asta's power awakened and he received a 5-leaf clover grimoire. A magical sword appeared from his grimoire, and Reiji wondered how it was possible that he got a grimoire without magic in his body. The reason for this was that Asta awakened the power of a demon that resided in the 5-leaf clover. Meanwhile, Yuno remembered the day when Asta told Yuno about his dream. Then we see 10 years ago that Yuno was running after Asta. He stumbled and started to cry, but Asta held out his hand. Back then he was still a crybaby, and Asta always cheered up his best friend. Afterwards, Asta said that everyone is waiting for them. Later on, Asta was eating bread and he asked if Sister Lily would like to marry him when he grows up. She replied that she wasn't allowed to, and Asta got angry. Yuno told him the reasons why he can't marry Sister Lily. Following this, Sister Lily read the two boys the story about the first Wizard King who defeated a demon. Asta and Yuno liked that there was a happy ending, and they admired the Wizard King ever since. After the story ended, Sister Lily said that the Wizard King still exists because the title has been passed down through several generations. They learned that the Wizard King protects the Kingdom of Clover so that the residents can live in peace. Asta also decided to become a Wizard King, and Sister Lily was surprised by his plan. Then Asta said that he wants to become a Wizard King who will make all the inhabitants of the kingdom happy. Also, he planned to repair the church and buy Sister Lily everything she wanted. A few months later, we see Asta trying to use magic. He wondered why he couldn't use magic. Meanwhile, Yuno tried to cheer baby Nash up, but he also started crying. After this, Asta tried to calm Nash down, but he failed. Then Priest Orsi returned and he asked if someone could deliver a letter to the mayor for him. He gave Yuno the task because he didn't think Asta was responsible. So Yuno accepted his request to deliver the letter to the neighboring village. Asta was worried about his friend, but Rekka said that he doesn't have to worry. Then we see a bar owner who kicked a drunk man out of his shop because he had no money. Meanwhile, Yuno arrived in the neighboring village and the drunk man planned to steal his pendant. Following this, Yuno successfully delivered the letter to the mayor of the neighboring town. He immediately made his way home and didn't notice that he was being watched. A few hours earlier, Sister Lily was wondering why Yuno isn't home yet, and Asta was worried. Then we see Yuno, who was beaten up and his pendant was taken away from him. He asked the man to give him back his pendant, but the man just looked down at him. Yuno planned to attack him with wind magic, but the man intimidated him. Suddenly, Asta appeared and attacked the thief. He wanted to protect Yuno, and he didn't give up, even though he got hurt in the process. However, Asta fought the man, and Yuno was happy to see him. Asta was beaten up by the guy, but he didn't give up. The man was frightened by his determination, and he decided to return the pendant. Yuno was very grateful, and he wanted to apologize for being useless. Back in the present, we see Asta, who was attacked by Reiji with chain magic. Asta nullified his magic with his sword, and his opponent was scared. He also started a counterattack, and said that even without magic he still plans to become Wizard King. After this, we see that Asta hit Reiji with his sword, and he smashed him into the walls. Then Yuno remembered that day when Asta decided that he would become a Wizard King to protect him. Asta wanted to prove that even orphans like them could become the Wizard King. Yuno liked his words, and he decided never to cry again that day. Also, he planned to become the Wizard King to protect Asta and everyone else. Then we see Asta was happy about his grimoire, and Yuno thanked him for saving him again. He said that he will pay him back one day, and asked if he remembered their promise. Asta remembered that they promised to become rivals. However, Asta learned that Yuno had never looked down on him, and he always viewed him as his rival. We then see how the Kingdom of Clover was attacked by a powerful demon several hundred years ago. He was extremely strong, and no wizard could stop him. Suddenly, a mysterious wizard appeared, who decided to defeat the monster. He bravely faced the demon in a fight. Following this, he cast powerful spells, and managed to immobilize the demon. After that, he prepared a powerful spell, and he attacked the demon. The human who appeared back then to stop the demon was the first Wizard King. Time passed, and the title of the Wizard King has been passed down through generations. In addition, magical knights were created to protect Clover alongside the Wizard King. Then we see Asta, who was doing his training as usual. He looked at his grimoire and was motivated to become the Wizard King, even without magical power in his body. After a short break, he continued his training because he wanted to pass the Magic Knight's entrance exam. Then we see Yuno training in a forest, and he dreamed of becoming a Wizard King too. He was aware that Asta would never take a break and didn't intend to be left behind. Meanwhile, Priest Orsi was surprised that Asta was also allowed to take part in the Magic Knight entrance exam. The Grimoire Master told them that the people he planned to send to the Magic Knight's entrance exam no longer wanted to take part. Priest Orsi was still worried about Asta, and he asked if it was the right decision to allow Asta to participate. The real reason was that he would miss the two boys that he raised, but Orsi wasn't about to admit it. The Grimoire Master tried to calm him down and said that Asta will most likely fail the exam. After that, the Grimoire Master was asked about Asta's grimoire, but he didn't know much about it. Following this, Asta was on his way back from his training, and Yuno had no intention of losing to his rival. They both tried to get to the church first and arrived at the same time. Suddenly Asta said that the race will continue to the dining table, but Yuno used his wind magic to cheat. The followed morning, Asta was working out again and Nash showed up to talk to him. He started arguing with Asta and said that Asta can never become Wizard King. The reason for this was that Nash thought that because they are poor orphans, they aren't allowed to dream like that. Asta yelled at him and said that he can't give up until he tries. So he replied that everyone can make their dream come true, and it doesn't matter if you're poor or an orphan. At that moment, Nash began to change his opinion of Asta, and he began to admire him. 6 months passed, and Priest Orsi had prepared a feast. He teased Asta and said that this feast is for Yuno because Asta will fail the entrance exam anyway. He wasn't serious, but he didn't want to admit that he would miss Asta. After that, Asta started talking the usual nonsense and he was punished by Sister Lily. The following morning, the two boys planned to set off for the royal capital. They said goodbye and wished them good luck. Before they left, Nash said that Asta would be home soon anyway. But if he manages to pass the entrance exam, he would be very happy about it. After that, they set off, and Asta said that he will definitely pass. Sister Lily was proud of the two of them and hoped that they would both survive. Then she remembered when she first met Asta. At that time, he only had nonsense on his mind and was happy that the two of them had grown up well. Later, Asta wondered if they would meet the Wizard King in the royal capital. Then he ran off because he couldn't wait any longer to get to the royal capital. At that moment, he dreamed of how he could impress Sister Lily as the Wizard King. He dreamed of seducing her on a magical broom. Yuno suddenly asked if he could ride a broom without magic, and he said he would manage it somehow. Suddenly, Asta challenged Yuno to a race, and he said that the winner would become the next Wizard King. A few hours passed and Yuno stopped him because they still got a long way to go. This is how the two boys' journey to the royal capital began. They walked through the forest for several days, and Yuno always refused to accept Asta's decision. On their journey, they also experienced many problems, but they managed to solve them together. Besides, Yuno always tried to show Asta that he is better than him. Despite their rivalry, they were good friends and looked out for each other. A few days passed, and they almost reached their destination. They saw the royal capital from afar, and Asta was excited to make his dream Wizard King come true. When they arrived at the royal capital, Asta and Yuno looked around. Asta was immediately impressed because it was so different from their village. Afterwards, Asta discovered a castle, and he suspected that the Wizard King lives there. He said that one day he will be the owner and he would allow Yuno to live there too. Then we see Sister Lily, and she hoped that the two of them arrived safely at the royal capital. Meanwhile, Asta enjoyed some street food that an old lady sold him. A short time later, they arrived at a stadium where the entrance exam was being held. Yuno was ashamed of Asta for his embarrassing behavior. Then they signed in, and Yuno showed a man his grimoire. He was surprised that he was the person with the 4-leaf clover. After that, Asta told the guy that he got a grimoire too, but the guy didn't believe that his grimoire was real. Asta told the guy that he would swear by 5 guys. As a result, he was able to convince the guy that his grimoire was real. A few moments later, some candidates were surrounded by many birds. They learned that they are anti-birds who like people with little magical powers. Yuno was the only one who wasn't surrounded by birds because he got tons of magical power. Then Asta appeared, and he told Yuno that his legend would now begin. Nobody could take Asta seriously because he was surrounded by countless anti-birds. Suddenly he bumped into a scary-looking guy and the birds flew away. Asta thought that Yami was a participant and tried to be friendly. Unfortunately, his attempt didn't work, and Yami asked if he was ready to die. At that moment, Finn appeared and told Yami that a Magic Knight squad captain shouldn't kill an exam candidate. The candidates were shocked that this man was the Lord of Destruction Yami. Also, following this, Asta tried to free himself, and Yami was surprised by Asta. Suddenly Finn told Yami that the entrance exam is about to start, and Yami let go of Asta's head. At that moment, Seki appeared, and introduced himself to Asta. Shortly afterwards, the captains of the magical knights showed up. First we see Nozel Silva, who was captain of the Silver Eagles. The second one who appeared was Fuegolian Vermilion, and he was a powerful fire magic user. Asta learned a lot about the captains and he was impressed. This is how Seki explained to him about the powers of each captain of the magical knight squad. One of the captains was even just 19 years old, and Asta thought that becoming the Wizard King would be easy. In this moment, Seki told him that the next Wizard King is most likely William Vengeance. After that, Yami showed up, and he hoped that the entrance exam would be over quickly. We then learned that the captains got the strength of 100 mages, and one of these individuals will become the next Wizard King. A few moments later, the entrance exam began, and William said that he would conduct this exam. He cast a spell and created a huge tree. As a result, the candidates received a broom for the first test. Following this, William explained to them the rules of how everything works. Asta was hyped up and he planned to join a magic knight squad no matter what. Then they learned from the first test that they should fly on the brooms. Then we see Yuno, and he was using his broom like it was a surfboard. Suddenly the captains became aware of Asta because he was embarrassing himself. He couldn't fly on the broom because he had no magical power at all. Then Noelle also planned to take part in the entrance exams, but her brother stopped her because her destination had already been decided. Then we see Asta, who failed every test. But Seki was able to shine through Asta's pathetic performance. A few moments later, the final exam started and they were told that they would be engaged in actual combat. Asta was nervous because he knew it was his last chance. At that moment Seki appeared and he wanted to fight against him. Seki had challenged Asta because he thought Asta was a weakling. Before the fight started, he showed his true colors and he insulted Asta. Following this, the fight started and Seki activated his spell Seki Cannonball. Finn could see that Seki is a strong magician, and he wondered how his opponent wanted to break through his defense. Asta wasn't scared at all, and he took out his anti-magic sword. Following this, he launched his attack and he defeated his opponent in just a second. Seki fainted out, and Asta said that he will become the future Wizard King at any cost. Yami was impressed, and Yuno had already expected Asta's victory as his rival. Meanwhile, the participants wondered if he used sword magic. Asta replied that he didn't have any magical power, but he would become a Wizard King without it. As a result, they made fun of him and thought that he won the fight by luck. Meanwhile, Finn noticed that something was wrong with Asta. Yami explained to him that Asta was a person who had no magical power at all, and he liked Asta's attitude. A few moments later, a battle between two powerful nobles started, and we see them casting strong spells. Asta was shocked by their strength, and some participants gossiped behind Asta's back. Afterwards, Salim from the famous Hapsas family challenged Yuno to a fight. He thought that Yuno was a weakling, despite his four-leaf grimoire. The reason for this was that nobles did not despise commoners in this world. Salim told Yuno that he will crush him, and Yuno can feel honored to fight against a famous noble like him. Suddenly, Salim cast a very powerful lightning spell that caused the ground to shake. Then Salim attacked Yuno with his lightning ball and was sure that he will win this fight. Yuno wasn't afraid, and he cast a wind spell that swallowed the lightning ball. Yuno's magic was overpowered, and he managed to defeat Salim with just a single attack. As a result, Yuno won the fight, and Salim fainted out. In the evening, the candidates' numbers were called, and they were then asked to step forward. They learned that the squad captains will raise their hand, and if several captains are interested in a candidate, they can choose a squad. Following this, the number of the candidates was called, and many were not selected by any squad. Some were lucky, and Asta was nervous because he was aware that this is his chance to become a Wizard King. We then see Yuno, who was called out, and Asta wished him good luck. Suddenly all the squad captains raised their hands for Yuno, and the participants were shocked. Yuno planned to take the best path, and he decided to join the Golden Dawn. Shortly afterwards it was Asta's turn, and he was excited about which squad he would join. He found out that no one wanted him, and was shocked about it. Asta wasn't about to give up on his dream, and he didn't leave the arena. Suddenly Yami told him the reason why Asta wasn't chosen. He said, "The only thing desired from a magic knight is their magic power." At that moment, he showed Asta the strength of a squad captain, and he caused a lot of pressure. Yami explained to him that no one raised his hand because he had no magical power. Then Yami asked him a question if he can surpass the 9 captains, since he wants to become the Wizard King. Asta was tested, and he replied that he will do anything to become Wizard King. As a result, Yami saw his determination and gave Asta the chance to join his squad. Asta was surprised by this, and Yami said that he can't refuse. He also said that his life will be tough, but he will become Wizard King someday. Asta was grateful for this opportunity and joined the Black Bulls. In the evening, the event ended and Asta said goodbye to Yuno. Suddenly he had a stomachache because he had eaten the grilled snakes. He ran to the toilet and Seki planned to take revenge on Asta for his defeat. Seki was angry because he was only offered a position in one of the lower ranking squads. Then he planned to kill Asta and he cast his lizard poison spell. At that moment, Yuno appeared, protecting his friend Asta. Yuno destroyed the poison lizard and Seki was scared. Afterwards, Asta came out of the toilet and the fight for the title of Wizard King between the two rivals began. Meanwhile, Captain Yami was angry and he replied that he didn't want to know what he did in the toilet. Yami ordered Finn to open a teleportation gate. Then Finn told them to hurry up, and Yami was angry that Finn was ordering him around. After Asta was thrown into the teleportation gate, he arrived at the Black Bull's base. He was impressed and was looking forward to meeting his comrades. Then something exploded and Yami welcomed him to the absolute worst Magic Knight squad, the Black Bulls. In the meantime, Yuno met Klaus, who introduced himself. He wondered why Captain Vengeance wanted a peasant from the boonies to join their squad. After that, he warned Yuno that he would not be easily accepted as a member of the Golden Dawn. Then we see Asta trying to get into the house, but he was almost hit by a fireball. The reason for this was that 2 troublemakers were fighting each other in the Black Bull base. This is how we learn that all Black Bull's members are crazy. Following this, he introduced himself to them, and he said that he plans to become Wizard King. Nobody listened to him, and they continued with the nonsense. Suddenly Magna tried to hit Luck, but the fireball hit Asta. Then Vanessa got angry and she complained to them because she couldn't sleep. Yami also got angry because they destroyed the base and he told them to stop with the nonsense. Then they realized that their captain is back and they were happy to see him. They wanted to have fun with him, and Yami was glad that they missed him. But at the same time, he was angry at them and Yami lectured his members. Then we see Asta and he was calling for help because someone was sitting on him. After being rescued, Asta introduced himself. Finn introduced him to the members of the Black Bull. Suddenly Vanessa asked if he wanted to play some games with her, but Asta refused. After this, Luck introduced himself, and Asta learned that he is a battle junkie. Following this, Asta was told that the members of the Black Bulls look like villains, but despite their looks, they are nice people. After the introduction, Yami told him that some members were on missions, and that he should try to get along with them. Asta shouted that he will do his best and Yami ordered him to lower his voice. Following this, Yami told them to put Asta to work and Magna was hyped up. Asta was scared. Suddenly, Magna said that he had to prove to him that he was worthy of wearing a magic robe. Later, Magna was making up an initiation ritual and the Black Bulls members were excited. Magna told him to show how much stamina he has. Asta immediately did 5,000 push-ups and showed his superhuman physical strength. Vanessa was impressed, but Luck said that it doesn't matter because in this world, magical power is everything. Then Asta learned that he hadn't convinced Magna yet. At that moment he told him about the final trial in the initiation. He planned to attack him with fireballs and Asta should block or dodge his fireballs. Then the final trial began, and Asta took out his anti-magic sword. The Black Bull members were excited to see Asta's power. Meanwhile, Magna pulled out a baseball bat and planned to hit a home run. Asta dodged his attacks, and he realized that Magna doesn't know much about baseball rules. Suddenly Magna wanted to get serious and he wanted to throw a fast ball. Magna attacked Asta with his strongest attack, and Asta thought he was going to die. At that moment, Asta's body began to move on its own. The reason for this was that Asta is a Dragon Ball superfan and therefore he mastered the Ultra Instinct. Asta hit the fireball back with his instinct and Magna was hit by his own attack. Everyone was surprised, and Yami noticed that his sword got the ability to reflect magic. Meanwhile, Asta was surprised by his sword's ability and he was happy to have survived. Then we see Magna, who looked very angry. Asta thought he was planning to beat him up, but he was wrong. Afterwards, Asta said he was flattered, but he replied that he doesn't have any magic. Magna liked him and the other members recognized him as an official member of the Black Bull. They wanted to celebrate with him, and Charmy offered him half of her cupcake. Additionally, Asta received his magic robe, and Magna congratulated him. Asta was told him to try it on, and she created with her magic power a bandana. They were happy to have a new member in the Black Bull squad. Asta thanked them, and he said that he will do his best as a new member of the Black Bull. Then we see Noelle, who was also a newbie, and she looked down on Asta. Later, Magna showed him his room and he thought that Asta is shocked about this dirty room. But Asta was happy about this room because he has never had his own room. Then Asta started cleaning and Magna was surprised at his reaction. Before he left Asta's room, he told him that he should write a letter to everyone at the church. Asta wrote that he became a magic knight and he is going to climb his way up to Wizard King from there. Then we see Yuno at his room and Klaus was looking down on him. Suddenly Yuno said that he has a name and Klaus replied that he has to treat him with respect. After Klaus left the room, Yuno looked out the window. The following morning, Yuno and Asta's letters arrived at the church. Priest Orsi was happy that Yuno had managed to become a magic knight, and was proud of him. Then Sister Lily wanted to read the letter from Asta, and Priest Orsi thought that he will come home soon. But Sister Lily told them that he passed the magic entrance exam too, and they were shocked. Priest Orsi was sad that he won't be able to come home and he flew off to tell the other villagers about the news. Following this, we see Asta waking up, and he realized that it wasn't a dream. He was planning to start his day, and bumped into a pillar after leaving his room. Magna asked if he had slept well, and Asta asked him some questions. So he learned that the base itself changes its shape all the time. Afterwards, Magna planned to show him around the Black Bull's super cool base. First he was led to the cafeteria, and Charmy was eating a delicious cheesecake. Next he was shown the bathroom, and Asta was surprised by the heat. After bathing, he was shown the toilet and they disturbed Captain Yami while he was making chocolate. They immediately went to the beast room, and Asta learned about Captain Yami's hobby. Magna said that from now on, he has the duty to take care of all the animals here. A few minutes later, Asta tried to feed the beasts, but a beast bit his head. Then Magna continued to show him around, and he had a lot of fun with Magna. Suddenly Magna stopped running and Noelle appeared in front of them. Magna explained to him that she is the other new recruit this year. Asta introduced himself to her, but she treated him like scum. In addition, she told them that she belonged to the royal family of this kingdom. Asta was shocked by this, and started begging for forgiveness. A few seconds later, Asta realized that he had done nothing wrong, and said status means nothing. After this, she attacked Asta with a powerful water spell, but she missed. Magna was angry, and Noelle didn't want to admit that she didn't have control over her magical power. Then Magna told her that he doesn't care about her status and won't hold back anymore. Suddenly, she threw her magical robe to the ground and said that the Black Bulls were the absolute worst magical knight squad. The following morning, Asta tried to find the toilet, but he ended up outside. A water ball appeared out of nowhere and hit him. Then he learned that Noelle was responsible for practicing her water spells early in the morning. She failed to hit the tree in front of her and despaired. Then we learn that she is a disgrace to her family because she can't control her magical powers. Her siblings always looked down on her, and she was called a failure. In the meantime, Asta was watching her, and he guessed she's got it rough too. Afterwards, she noticed that Asta was watching her. As a result, she unintentionally cast a dangerous water spell. She lost control of her spell and couldn't free herself. Yami sensed the huge amount of magical power and wondered what was going on outside. Then the Black Bulls members were surprised to see a huge water ball in the sky. Ghosh said that someone's magical power is out of control. Yami replied that they can't attack with magic because otherwise she would die. Suddenly Asta appeared out of nowhere, and he asked Asta to take care of it. He replied that he can't fly, and Yami threw him into the air with full force. Asta took out his anti-magic sword to destroy the water spell. Everything went according to plan, and Noelle was saved. As he fell to the ground, Asta thought he was going to die, but Finn saved him. He told Asta that he had done a good job. Meanwhile, Noelle felt ashamed, and thought that Asta was talking down to her. She was wrong, and he admired her because she had some insane magical power. Asta said that with a lot of training she could become a strong mage. At that moment, she fell in love with Asta because he was the first person who didn't see her as a failure. Then she learned that the Black Bulls members are all very nice people. They cheered her up and warmly welcomed her into their squad. This is how we learn that Asta doesn't have any magical power, but instead, he got infinite riz. A few days passed and Asta was cleaning the Black Bull's base. He was very hardworking and did his best when cleaning. While he was doing laundry, he discovered Vanessa's underwear that drove him crazy. Next, he went to feed the beasts, and he was almost eaten by an animal again. Then Asta went to wake up his captain and knocked on Yami's room. He threatened him, and Asta apologized for trying to wake him up. Later on, he realized that his life as a magic knight was no different from his life at the church. At lunch, Asta asked Noelle why she didn't help him with the cleaning and stuff. She replied because she is a royalty. Afterwards, Asta wanted to know what else magic knights do. Magna explained that they were protecting the kingdom, and was angry because Asta didn't know about their duties as a magic knight. Following this, Magna told his comrades to tell Asta more about their duties. Asta learned that they fight criminals and protect nobles. Meanwhile, Gordon also tried to tell him their duties, but they couldn't hear his voice. Suddenly, Charmy screamed because she was out of food. She immediately used her cotton creation magic to cook new food. Then Gray appeared behind Asta, and he activated a transformation spell to transform into Asta. Asta understood that they were all weirdos, and Noelle asked if she would fit into this squad. Magna asked if he now understood what a magic knight does, but he was busy. At that moment, Yami appeared, and he told Magna that they have to go. Asta asked if he could go on the mission, but Magna didn't want to put him in danger. Before they left, Yami said that they shouldn't destroy the base while they are on a mission. Everyone wished him a lot of fun and said goodbye to Yami in their own way. Meanwhile, Asta understood that they were serious and wondered if they were going on a dangerous mission. A few hours later, we see Yami and Magna on their mission. They played poker against a man named Seiji, and they lost all their money against him. They also lost their clothes, but Yami didn't plan on giving up. Yami was planning to bet his grimoire, and Magna tried to stop him. Seiji made a suggestion to Yami, and he said that if he loses, Yami will have to do him a favor. Yami accepted, and Magna told him he would join. They played one last game with Seiji, and Yami was sure they would win. In the evening, we see Asta, who was feeding the beasts. He was trying not to get eaten, and Noelle had no intention of helping him. Suddenly, Yami and Magna returned, and they had no clothes on. They lost the game in poker, and the two newbies were shocked. The following morning, the two were given their first mission, and they learned that they needed to hunt wild boars. Magna told Asta not to underestimate wild boars. Afterwards, Yami said that they lost against the Major of Saucy Village. Asta learned that they lost in a card game, and in return, they should take care of the wild boar problem. Asta and Noelle wanted to know why they have to take care of the wild boars. They immediately regretted the question, and learned that they had no choice because otherwise Yami would kill them. Despite everything, Asta was looking forward to his first mission, and Noelle feared that she would be useless. Magna told her that she will be able to fix that in no time with some missions under her belt. Then Finn was supposed to send them to Saucy Village, but he wasn't able to do this. He explained he can't go to a place he has never been to before. So their only option was to fly there with their broomsticks, but both of them weren't able to do that. As a result, Magna planned to give them a ride on his baby. Magna showed them his crazy cyclone, and he said that it is faster than a Ferrari. Noelle wasn't impressed, and she called it lame. Noelle's words hurt his feelings, and he started his broomstick. He wanted to prove to her that his crazy cyclone was cool, and showed off the power of his baby. Noelle still wasn't impressed, and Asta had a lot of fun on his broomstick. Magna ordered him to get closer, but Noelle pushed him off the broomstick. Just before Asta landed in a lake, Magna appeared and saved him. We then see a group of evil-looking mages teleporting into a forest. In front of them were wild boars who were planning to attack them. The leader of the group cast an ice spell that instantly killed the wild boars. Afterwards, they walked in the direction of Saucy Village and they were looking for a magic stone. Then we see Asta, and he was thrown into the air by a giant boar. Once he was back on the ground, he ran away from the wild boar. Noelle was worried about him, but Magna didn't intend to help him, because he was sure that Asta would be fine. Also, Magna mentioned that he had used a lot of mana and needed to rest. A few moments later, Noelle planned to save her crush, and she cast a water spell. She hit Asta with her water ball, and the wild boar became even angrier. Asta didn't want to be bullied anymore, and he decided to attack the wild boar. He attacked him with his devil sword and defeated him. After the first boar was defeated, Magna told him that it wasn't over yet. A few hours later, the wild boars were defeated, and they carried the defeated wild boars to Saucy Village. Magna thought that Major Seiji will be happy about this gift, and told Noelle that he has known him since he was a child. He also told them the story that after receiving his grimoire, he thought he was a king, and tried to take over Saucy Village. He caused a lot of trouble, but Major Seiji stopped Magna with his sword magic. He stopped Magna from his nonsense and punished him. Since then, Magna challenged Major Seiji every day, and he always was beaten up by him. Following this, Magna told his comrades that Seiji is the reason why he became a magic knight. Magna thought that he could never become a magic knight because he came from the boonies. But Seiji encouraged him, and said that he shouldn't waste his talent. Magna said that it was only because of Seiji that he could become such a great man. Then Magna discovered that Saucy Village was covered in mist. Noel explained that the magical mist is a barrier. Magna ordered Asta to cut through the mist, but he thought Magna was kidding. Magna explained to him that he could cut through the mist because it was created by magic. So Asta began to create a passage into the village, and Noel sensed a huge amount of magic. After finding the villagers, they realized that they were taken hostage. Suddenly icicles fell on the villagers, but Magna used a fire spell to protect them. As a result, they were unharmed, and the villagers were happy to see magic knights. Magna asked Nick about his grandpa and he started to cry. The reason for this was that Major Seiji died while protecting the villagers. Following this, Heath was looking at a clock and he planned to execute them. He cast a powerful ice spell, and Magna was short on magic to repel this attack. At the last second, Asta used his devil sword and cut through the ice spell. Asta was angry and asked how he could be so cruel to kill innocent people. Meanwhile, the villains were surprised because they didn't expect to encounter any magic knights in this area. Then Asta ran towards the enemies and they tried to stop Asta. He repelled their spells and they were shocked by it. Then we learn that this world is split into several regions and the villains were looking down on people who lived in the Forsaken Realm. Heath told them that people from the boonies are scum and they are not important to this world. At that moment, Asta remembered that some in his village wished to live in the upper realms. Sister Lily explained to him that only people who possess strong magical powers were allowed to live in the upper realms. Asta said that he will become Wizard King and he will get rid of those rules. Back in the present, Asta said that he will protect all people and he will punish him for calling them scum. Suddenly, Heath cast a mist spell and dangerous icicles appeared in the air. He asked if Asta will be able to protect all these scum and started to attack. He was sure of victory, but Asta and his friends did not allow the innocent villagers to be killed. Magna was at his limit, but he had no intention of losing to these disgusting villains. He did his best and cast strong fire spells. Meanwhile, Noelle tried to help, but she still didn't have her magic power under control. Noelle knew she was useless, but she wanted to protect this village. Suddenly a little girl asked Noelle to save them and she didn't intend to give up. At that moment, a new spell appeared in her grimoire, and Noelle cast a powerful water spell. She created a barrier of water to protect the villagers. That day, Noelle learned to control her magical powers. Following this, Heath tried to destroy the barrier, but his attacks were useless. He was shocked by this, and Asta knew that it was his chance to launch a counterattack. Asta couldn't forgive this arrogant guy for calling them scum and attacked him with full force. Unfortunately, he failed to defeat Heath because his opponent used his ice magic to break his momentum. Heath smiled, and he activated a spell that sent Asta into the air. Asta was knocked out, and Heath walked towards the barrier. Suddenly he froze the water to create an entrance for a single person. Magna was desperate and he planned to give up because his mana wasn't enough to defeat Heath. At this crucial moment, Asta tried to attack him from behind. Heath reacted in time and he was surprised that Asta was still alive. Asta wasn't planning on giving up. After this, Magna recalls the day he was celebrated for becoming a magic knight. Major Seiji congratulated him and he gave him a gift. Then Magna looked at Major Seiji and he planned to go beyond his limits. He told Noelle that he was entrusting the villagers to her and left the barrier. Meanwhile, Heath told Asta to give up because he has no chance against him. Asta replied that he will never give up because he will become the Wizard King. Suddenly Magna appeared out of the barrier and he said that they will defeat Heath. Magna was sure that Asta would understand his plan, and he used his last magical power for his Soul Ball spell. He threw several fireballs at the opponents, and Heath blocked his attack. After Magna used his final attack, he could no longer move. Then Heath noticed that he screwed up because Asta was able to reflect magic. Meanwhile, Magna was protected by Noelle, who had created a barrier around him. Heath tried to put out the fire with ice magic, but Asta attacked at the same time. He said that he can still move and defeated the enemy. Heath fainted and the villagers were happy that Asta won. A few moments later, Magna activated a spell to bind the enemies. Suddenly some enemies disappeared and Noelle talked down on him. Then her spell dissolved and Magna laughed at her for talking down to him. However, Asta celebrated his victory because Heath was defeated by a lowly commoner like Asta. Noelle admired him and was happy to have met him. Then the villagers thanked Magna and Noelle for protecting everyone. At that moment, something moved in Asta's clothes, and they were surprised to see an anti-bird. This bird was not a normal bird, and she flew into a house to get a magic crystal. In the afternoon, Heath was awake again, and Magna said that he would take him to the royal capital. Suddenly Heath said that the end has come, and he activated a magic item. Heath and his comrades were trapped in ice and they eliminated themselves. They were shocked about this, and were angry that they couldn't arrest them. In the evening, we see Nick at his grandpa's grave, and he was very sad. Magna tried to cheer him up and said that Major Seiji risked his life to protect everyone. He said he was a real man, and Nick knew his grandpa liked Magna. Then Nick asked if he could become a magic knight one day. He replied that he can also become a magic knight, and nothing is impossible. Asta and Noel agreed with him and told him to work hard for his goal to become a strong magic knight. Suddenly an anti-bird appeared and Asta was attacked by the bird. Nick noticed the bird got a charm that his grandpa had. Asta wanted to give Nick the charm back, but he wanted to give it to Asta. Meanwhile, Noel noticed how cute an anti-bird was, but the bird didn't want to leave Asta. He was attacked by the bird, and he wondered why the bird didn't stop to annoy him. Then we see the leader of the villains, and he learned that Heath had failed his mission. In the evening, Yami learned that his members went through hell, and he laughed. The reason he laughed was because being depressed wouldn't bring Seiji back. Magna agreed with him, and said that Seiji liked to see everyone happy and energetic. Following this, Magna forced them to laugh to show their respect to Old Man Seiji. Suddenly Yami said that they did a good job, and that they should be proud of themselves for protecting Saucy Village. Magna was saluting, and he explained to Asta that these fingers symbolized the clover. Meanwhile, Finn and Vanessa returned, and Yami asked if they found out anything about the enemy mages. Vanessa said that the Magic Investigation Department still don't have any clue. Suddenly Yami became angry because Magna destroyed the wall. Then the anti-bird appeared, and the girls found it adorable. Asta planned to catch the bird because he wanted to make out of it fried chicken, but Noel stopped him. As a result, they started destroying the building and Yami scolded them. Then Yami told them that their actions have been acknowledged by the Wizard King himself. They have been given a star, and Asta was excited. Suddenly he asked what it meant to get a star. Vanessa explained that stars are awarded by the Wizard King based on their performance. Then Asta learned that the Golden Dawn has 70 stars, and Asta asked about their stars. Yami told them that they finally have a nice, even -30. Asta was shocked by this, and he realized that he had lost to Yuno's squad. Then they received their pay for this month, and Asta was excited. Luck wanted to use his money to fight Yami, but he refused. The Black Bull members also found out that they have a day off tomorrow. Meanwhile, Noelle was disappointed, and Asta told her that she could use it to buy at least 10 years worth of potatoes. She wasn't impressed because she comes from a rich family. Then Vanessa congratulated them both and asked what they wanted to do with the money. Asta replied that he will send some money back to the church in Haga. Following this, Vanessa invited the two newbies to go shopping tomorrow. They were looking forward to it, and planned to go to bed early. In the night we see Asta, who wrote a letter to his family, and he told them that his squad members were taking good care of him. After that, we learned that Magna used Asta as a target for his training every day. Asta was a very gullible person, and he also wrote that he would become the Wizard King soon. The following morning, Asta and his friends flew to the castle town. Noelle got nervous because her crush touched her and she pushed Asta off the broom. Arrived at the castle town, Asta was amazed and he hoped that he could bring Sister Lily and the kids from the church here someday. Then we see Ghosh in the sky, who spent all his money on gifts for his little sister. Afterwards, they heard Charmy's voice, who was in an inn. They learned that she had ordered the ultra-ultimate super-large serving of everything. Charmy started to eat the large serving of everything, and Asta almost vomited by watching her. Then we see Finn, and he tried to hit on a woman. He thought she was a single mother, but he was wrong. Meanwhile, Asta was excited, and Vanessa asked if the two of them planned to buy anything. Suddenly they were surrounded by the commoners, and Noelle learned that the Black Bulls got a very bad reputation. 2 hours later, Vanessa was finished with her errands and she suggested going somewhere quieter. Vanessa showed them a secret location in an alley, and they were surprised about it. That's how they found out about the black market, and Vanessa said that they could buy very effective magical items there. Asta was having fun, but Vanessa noticed that Noelle didn't seem to be excited. Then Vanessa cheered her up, and told her that they have items that could help her to control her magical powers. After that, they discovered Magna in the black market planning to double his paycheck. Meanwhile, Seki lost all his money by playing poker against an old lady. He was depressed because his captain treated him like an errand boy. He thought that his life would be fun after becoming a magic knight. Suddenly he spotted two cuties and he planned to rizz them up. Noelle was shown an item that can stabilize her power and she tested it out. Unfortunately it didn't work on her, and she hit Seki with a water ball. Following this, Seki tried to impress them, but he was insulted as an insect. At that moment, Asta appeared, who had bought a strange toy. Seki was shocked to see Asta, who couldn't remember his name. He was also jealous that Asta had 2 cuties in his squad while he was lonely and alone. Suddenly Asta told Seki that he received a star on his first mission. Seki got an emotional damage and tried to calm himself down. Then we see a thief who stole an old woman's money and she called for help. Asta wanted to help her and he immediately ran after the thief to catch him. Meanwhile, the thief thought that he was Son Goku and he flew away on a cloud. Seki didn't intend to let him steal all the glory, and he tried to impress the girls. In the meantime, the thief thought that Asta wouldn't catch up, but Asta had never skipped leg day before, and he got closer and closer to the thief. The thief was shocked, and he flew into a haystack. He was desperate, and Asta was wondering what he could do about the cloud of Dragon Ball. At that moment, an idea occurred to him, and he destroyed the cloud with his anti-magic sword. Asta tried to knock out the thief, but the thief managed to dodge. Suddenly Seki appeared, and Asta was impressed by his lame scooter. Seki thought he was Truck-kun and hit the thief. The thief was angry, and he used his last strength to poison Seki with a spell. Afterwards, Asta showed up and asked him what happened. Seki thought he was going to die, and he realized that he was once trying to get to the top too. Then he told Asta to make it all the way to the top for his sake. He planned to leave the dream to Asta, but Asta told him to not giving up. After he closed his eyes, he noticed that he wasn't dead, and Asta hit him on his face. The reason for this was that the thief attacked him with just a numbing poison. Later on, Seki said goodbye, and he told Asta to stay diligent until the next time he sees him. Following this, they gave the old woman her money back. Meanwhile, the old woman was amazed by Asta's negation magic, and she was actually the Wizard King. Julius found Asta really interesting, and his assistant was looking for him. Marx was angry that he sneaked out of the castle and told him to return. Suddenly, he spotted Yuno in the sky, and Julius didn't plan on going back to the castle. Then we see Yuno and 2 members of the Golden Dawn, and he was on his first mission. A few days earlier, Klaus was surprised about his mission to protect Lord Hapness's son as a bodyguard. Captain Vengeance told him that Lord Hapness makes very generous donations to the Magic Knights every year, so it's rather hard to decline. Vengeance was counting on Klaus, and told him to look after the new recruits. Meanwhile, Mimosa was nervous because of her first mission. Klaus told them not to let their guard down, and he still didn't like Yuno for being a commoner. Afterwards, Salim called Yuno over, but Yuno didn't trust him. Salim said that he requested Yuno to be his bodyguard because he wanted to apologize. Additionally, he wished him good luck, and hoped that he would become Wizard King, so that one day he could tell his children that he fought against the Wizard King. After this, Salim learned that Yuno comes from the village of Haga, where the first Wizard King defeated a demon. A few moments later, storm clouds appeared in the sky. Yuno flew up to the clouds to get a closer look. Then Yuno was attacked by a group of mages and he dodged the fireballs. Klaus ordered him to protect the ship and Yuno cast a wind spell. At that moment, another magician launched a sneak attack and Yuno fell off his broom. The magicians planned to kill him, but he managed to defeat them with a powerful wind spell. As a result, the storm clouds disappeared, and Klaus found it suspicious. The reason for this was that the enemy mages were only targeting Yuno. Afterwards they landed, and Salim thanked Yuno for protecting him. He gave Yuno many compliments and asked if Yuno could show him where he grew up. Klaus said it would be dangerous because there could still be pursuers after him, but Salim really wanted to stop at Yuno's village. Arriving in the village of Haga, Sister Lily was happy to see Yuno, and she told him that his face has matured. Klaus was sulking and he wanted to leave the village in the Forsaken Realm as quickly as possible. After this, Sister Lily thanked him for always taking good care of Yuno. Then Mimosa learned that Yuno had also written about her in his letters. Shortly afterwards, Salim introduced himself and he fell in love with Sister Lily. Sister Lily attacked him out of habit and apologized. Suddenly Priest Orsi appeared and he cried tears of joy after seeing Yuno. The children wanted to hear about his adventures and asked him about Asta. Following this, Priest Orsi asked them if they stay overnight, and Klaus said they just stopping by. Salim said that they don't need to hurry, and they decided to stay for dinner. Suddenly Mimosa unintentionally hurt Priest Orsi's feelings, because she said that the tiny church is cute. A few moments later, dinner was prepared, and Priest Orsi hoped that the nobles enjoyed it. Salim tried it, and he found the potatoes very tasty. Then Mimosa also tried Sister Lily's cooked food, and she liked it too. Meanwhile, Priest Orsi was happy because they had enough food on the table every day thanks to Asta and Yuno. Salim thought Yuno's act of sending money to his family was wonderful. Afterwards, Sister Lily and the children thanked Yuno. Yuno was surprised that Asta had also sent money, and he was shocked that Asta had sent almost all of his money to the church. That's when Yuno decided to send all his money starting next month, and Sister Lily tried to talk him out of it. Suddenly Klaus wanted to leave, but Salim wanted to enjoy the hospitality longer. The reason for this was that he was trying to raising up Sister Lily. Later, Sister Lily went out to get more water, and Yuno didn't trust Salim. Suddenly she was kidnapped, and Yuno immediately ran out to look after her. Klaus discovered a brooch and said that the attackers had worn the same one before. Salim thought it was his fault, and the children were worried about Sister Lily. Following this, Yuno planned to go rescue her, and he told Priest Orsi to wait here with the kids. Suddenly Klaus stopped him and said that their mission is to protect Salim. He wanted to abandon Sister Lily, and Mimosa tried to talk to him. He told Mimosa to stay out of it, and Yuno decided to ignore Klaus's orders. Following this, Yuno flew off and he didn't care about the punishment he would receive. A short moment later, he discovered an evil magician who planned to kill Yuno. Yuno was attacked, but he immediately launched a counterattack. After he defeated the magician, another magician appeared and he cast a water spell to stop him. Yuno immediately understood that the mages had been after him the whole time. The enemy underestimated Yuno, but Yuno was in a different league and he cast a powerful wind spell. As a result, he defeated his opponent with a strong tornado spell. While searching for Sister Lily, he was attacked again. This time the opponent mastered ice magic and shot ice shards at him. Yuno managed to block the attacks and his opponent created a huge icicle. Despite everything, the enemy couldn't win against Yuno. Suddenly he spotted a light in the demon skull, and he was walking to it. A man warned him that if he came any closer, he would burn Sister Lily's face. Yuno remembered that Sister Lily cared for him a lot. Back then, she wished that Yuno would always use his magical powers to help people in need. After that, the evil mage demanded that Yuno should hand over his grimoire. Yuno refused, and he told the enemy that he will save Sister Lily. Suddenly, Yuno crouched down, and Klaus attacked the enemy with his fierce spiral lance spell. They managed to defeat the enemy, and Mimosa said that Sister Lily is alright. After this, Klaus asked Yuno what he would have done if he hadn't shown up. Also, Yuno learned that Klaus had no intention of abandoning Sister Lily from the start. He said that Salim was acting suspiciously, and that a noble would be reluctant to visit a village in the boonies. They already suspected that Salim was behind it, and Mimosa cast her flower of truth on him. Later they learned that Salim wanted revenge on Yuno for losing the Magic Knight entrance exam battle. Then Yuno learned that Mimosa was able to use a secret spell of her family to locate him. Yuno thanked them for helping him. Soon after, Klaus told Salim that he is pathetic, and that Yuno won against him because he is a talented magician. Additionally, he asked if Yuno wanted to arrest him, but Yuno forgave Salim as long as he didn't go near Hage village. Shortly afterwards, Salim tried to cast a spell, but Sister Lily punished him. Suddenly Klaus noticed that one of the criminals had disappeared. Then we see Julius, who disguised himself as one of the criminals. He was impressed by Yuno and Asta and had a lot of fun that day. A few moments later, Yuno's family thanked Klaus and Mimosa. Klaus tried Sister Lily's dishes and was surprised that they tasted good. The following morning they returned to the Golden Dawn base and learned that they had received a star. Captain Vengeance said that the Wizard King was pleased with their work. Vengeance also said that by arresting the criminals, they were able to prove Lord Hapness's evil deeds. Then we see Vengeance and he was sure that Yuno will become a great magician. This is how Yuno's first mission ended, and he also received his first star. Meanwhile, Asta found out about the news. He was motivated to collect many stars in order to defeat his rival. A few days passed, and we see a man walking in the forest on the border of Clover. Suddenly the ground started shaking and he was shocked by this anomaly. He was confused and couldn't believe that a ruin had fallen. Then we see Julius and Marx reported him about an anomaly that had occurred. In the evening, Luck challenged Magna to a fight, but he refused because he was eating pudding. Meanwhile, Asta was doing push-ups and his friends were thinking of a name for Asta's bird. Magna suggested the name Magnum Fire, but Noel rejected his idea. Suddenly Charmy asked if she's allowed to fatten that bird up, but Noel said no. Asta wanted to name the bird Torinto, but the bird didn't like it. After that, Luck suggested the name Nero, and the bird liked the name. In the meantime, Yami returned and they wanted to know why he was called to the castle. Yami told them that a new dungeon has appeared in the kingdom of Clover. Asta didn't know what a dungeon was, and Magna explained to him that there were many treasures lurking in this place. He also learned that there are a lot of traps in a dungeon and was shocked about it. Following this, Yami told them that the dungeon popped up near their enemy's border. they needed to take care of this mission fast so Diamond's people won't steal anything. After that, he learned that the Wizard King had chosen him for the mission, and he was shocked. He felt honored and was hyped up for this mission. Additionally, Yami chose Noel for the mission and told Luck to look after the newbies. Shortly afterwards, Magna and Vanessa wished them good luck, and Finn created a portal. Later, Luck and the two newbies were on their way to the dungeon. After discovering the dungeon, Asta and Noel became nervous. Meanwhile, Magna wondered how Julius knew about Asta. Yami laughed because he already suspected why Julius knew about Asta. Then we see Noel tripped and she fell on Asta. The lamp broke and Noel blamed Asta for dropping it. Suddenly Luck spotted a light, and they were surprised to see that the dungeon was flowing with magic. They looked around, and Asta was amazed by this crazy place. Luck said that it looks like the space was warped because of magic. Noel learned that Asta couldn't feel the mana and she talked down to him. Asta was jealous, and he wanted to be able to feel the mana too. Suddenly he triggered a trap and he took out his sword to destroy it. Meanwhile, Luck found something on the ground and he pushed Asta onto it to activate the trap. Luck was not a suitable leader, and he discovered another trap which he activated. Luck didn't stop activating traps and he had a lot of fun in the dungeon. Meanwhile, Vanessa was worried and wondered if those kids were okay. Yami replied that they don't have to worry because Luck is talented at detecting mana. We then learned that Luck triggered the traps to better understand Asta's abilities. He felt that there were strong enemies in this dungeon and became excited. Suddenly, Luck cast a spell and he left the dungeon exploration to Asta and Noel. He immediately picked up the enemy's tracks and planned to fight them. Meanwhile, Noel was worried and Asta said that she doesn't have to worry. Asta also told her about his dream of becoming Wizard King before Yuno. Asta wanted to go and Noel became nervous about exploring the dungeon with her crush. Suddenly, Noel triggered a trap and a monster appeared in front of them. Noel couldn't free herself and thought she was going to die. Asta used his sword and cut the plant monster's vines. Unfortunately, Asta made a mistake by not killing the plant. The two thought they were going to die, but they felt a wind. Suddenly the monster was defeated by a powerful spell and they were confused. Meanwhile, Yami remembered that a few from the Golden Dawn have also been assigned to that dungeon. We then see that the user of the powerful spell was Asta's childhood friend Yuno. In the same time, one of the Golden Dawn members wondered why Captain Vengeance had sent a peasant on such an important mission. Vengeance explained to Alex that Yuno is a talented magician. Then we see Asta, and he was happy to meet Yuno in this dungeon. Suddenly Klaus behaved very rudely towards Asta and Noel. Asta called Klaus a four-eye and made Klaus angry. In the meantime, Mimosa was happy to meet her cousin and introduced herself. Noel didn't like her cousin, because Mimosa always talked down to her without even knowing it. Afterwards, Noel and Asta said that they also got a star in the last mission. Klaus thought they were lying and looked down at them. They started arguing and Yuno found their argument funny. Suddenly Klaus asked where the third member of their team was. They didn't know what to say because Luck ditched them and went off somewhere. As a result, Klaus started making fun of the Black Bulls. But Asta replies that they will conquer this dungeon before the Golden Dawn. Additionally, he insulted Captain Vengeance, and Klaus couldn't forgive Asta for that. Klaus decided to show Asta that the Golden Dawn is in a different league. He then ordered Mimosa to show her superiority, and she cast a spell. She learned the basic layout of the dungeon, and her team set off. Asta was impressed by Yuno, and he was fired up. Then the two Black Bulls members were surrounded by monsters, and Noel asked about Asta's plan, because neither of them had magic tracking spells. Asta had no plan, and Nero decided to help the two newbies. Meanwhile, Klaus was sure that Asta would never be able to win against them. He looked down on Asta, but Yuno told him not to underestimate his childhood friend. In the evening, Julius was informed that the two Magic Knight squads had started their investigation in the dungeon. In addition, he learned that a squad from the Diamond Kingdom was in the dungeon too. Julius was surprised that the man called Lotus of the Abyss was leading the enemy squad. Marx was worried to hear that Lotus is very strong, but Julius was sure that Luck is stronger than the enemy. Then we see Luck, who had tracked down the enemies and defeated two of them with ease. Luck sensed that Lotus was strong and was excited to fight him. Meanwhile, Lotus was also impressed by Luck and he liked Luck's attitude. After that he challenged his opponent, but Lotus decided to run away. Luck tried to attack him, but Lotus used his smoke magic to dodge the attack. Lotus said he has 3 daughters, and he would like to avoid a fight. Unfortunately, Luck was a battle junkie, and he had no intention of letting his opponent escape. Then we see Asta and Noel, who had problems finding their way to the treasure chamber. Suddenly Asta discovered a treasure chest and planned to open it. Noel warned him and tried to explain to Asta that it was actually a monster. He learned that it was a trap and regretted opening the treasure chest. A few moments later, Luck launched another attack, but he failed to hit Lotus. Lotus said that he had fought against Yami before. He also showed Luck the scar that Yami gave him during their fight. Suddenly Luck felt strange and he slowed down. He could no longer control his magic power that was caused by Lotus' special ability. Lotus explained to Luck that his smoke magic weakens his enemies with thin smoke that is barely visible. At this moment, Luck realized that Lotus never intended to run away. Meanwhile, Yuno's team arrived at the door to the treasure chamber and they planned to enter it. Suddenly, Mimosa was attacked by an enemy and she was seriously injured. Klaus was shocked because Mimosa is an expert at sensing mana. Then Mars walked towards them and planned to crush Yuno's team. After this, Lotus called Luck a weakling and planned to go to the treasure chamber. But Luck wanted to win and he turned into a monster. He attacked Lotus, leaving his enemy with no other option than to fight him. Then Luck remembered his childhood and his mother hated him because he was always smiling. One day he had to fight against a noblewoman, but Luck defeated her. All the nobles were shocked by this because a commoner usually has little magical power in their body. As a result, Luck's mother began to treat him differently, and she told him that he must keep winning. Because of this, Luck wanted to win, and he attacked Lotus like a wild animal. Lotus dodged the attacks and said he didn't intend to lose either. Suddenly Luck couldn't move anymore because of a smoke spell. Lotus said that he didn't actually plan on doing this spell because it uses a lot of mana. Then we see Mimosa using her last reserves of mana to heal herself. She apologized to her team for being the first to be defeated despite being the team's healer. Meanwhile, Klaus asked his opponent if he wasn't ashamed of sneakily attacking his enemies. Mars replied that he sees them as little bugs and attacked Yuno's team. Klaus didn't plan on losing to Mars and ordered Yuno to back him up. In the meantime, Noel felt a strong increase in magical power. She suspected that Luck was fighting an enemy in the opposite direction. Asta wanted to rush to Luck's help, but Noel told her mission was to find the treasure chamber before the Diamond's people. That's when Asta remembered that he planned to treat all his friends like family. Luck was in big trouble, but he couldn't free himself. We then see Mars launch an attack and Klaus realized that their enemy is overpowered. Because of this, he ordered Yuno to go to the treasure chamber while he fights the enemy. Yuno ran to the treasure chamber and Klaus screwed up. Then we see Asta, who came to save his friend Luck. In the same time, Yuno protected Klaus because the two promised to each other to treat their friends like family. However, both Clover squads faced strong enemies in threes and had no intention of losing. At that moment, Luck remembered when his mother died. He was sad, but everyone thought he was a psychopath because he couldn't show emotions. Since that day, Luck decided to fight alone, otherwise he wouldn't be loved by his mother. Asta understood that Luck had his reasons for fighting Lotus alone, but he still wanted to help him. In this moment, Luck realized that he was not alone and that he had found friends to fight alongside him. As a result, Luck managed to overcome his fear and free himself from the bonds that held him back. Lotus realized that he had to get serious and cast a strong smoke spell. Asta told Lotus not to underestimate them because they are the Black Bulls. At the same time, Yuno also cast a strong spell and told Klaus that they will win. He said that the Golden Dawn will enter the treasure chamber first and attacked Mars. We then see Asta's team trying to destroy the smoke prison spell. They didn't manage to destroy Lotus' powerful magic and they became desperate. Also, Luck was unable to sense the enemy and he tried to come up with a new plan. Suddenly, Asta gave him an idea to track down Lotus. Meanwhile, Lotus was confident of victory and waited until his enemies died. Suddenly, Luck attacked him and Lotus dodged the lightning balls. He underestimated Luck and Asta hit Lotus with his sword. As a result, Lotus was knocked out and Luck's plan worked. Meanwhile, Klaus was shocked because Mars managed to repel Yuno's attack. Yuno was exhausted and the enemy from the Diamond Kingdom was looking down on them.